Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Autotopia LA. Today we got a really unique, very different one for us. This is Zyra. Zyra works with a company called Velocity. In the simple terms, you're a low volume manufacturer at this point.
Yes.
So why don't we take a second and for the people that have never heard of Velocity, explain kind of the quick version of what the company is, some of the other vehicles you do, and then we'll dive into the Bronco.
Sure. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, man.
So Velocity's been in the industry for a little over a decade now. And it started out of Pensacola, Florida by two fine young gentlemen that grew up together in high school and started with one Bronco to another. So now we're in a position where we went from 25,000 square feet to 140,000 square feet. And we're very blessed with a little over 150 employees and building a little over 120 Broncos a year.
You do 120 Broncos a year, really?
Yeah, so we guarantee a 14-week timeline in an assembly line program where we have phenomenal subject matter experts that do this day in and day out, tried and true, and we just familiarize ourselves enough to make that process go seamless and get a customer in their dream Bronco in 14 weeks.
I don't know any other low production manufacturer that's producing near that many vehicles in 1 year.
I appreciate you saying that, and we'll take it on to another level. The Bronco is our tried and true bread and butter that we started with. Now we're doing a multitude of other product lines with the same type of program.
So there's this, what you've built the company on, it's the foundation point of the company, but you're doing, what are the other vehicles you said you're doing?
We now offer a Ford F-250, a Ford 100, and a Signature Series Mustang that we just launched. And we'll be launching a couple of other vehicles, so I'd stay tuned.
Okay. It's staggering to me that you're turning out that much. You're in a 140,000 foot building. You've got 60 employees, you said?
Yeah, we're a little over 155 employees right now, going strong, and we're always hiring talent. We learn from the best, and innovation is something that we believe in. So if somebody has some talent, we'd love to talk to them.
I noticed on here, I was telling you, I don't like to look closely at vehicles because I want to learn about it in the moment so me and the viewers are learning at the same time. But I thought I saw something in here that says Modern Classics.
Yes, so our full name is Velocity Modern Classics, which allows us to focus on a multitude of products where other companies familiarize themselves only on one simple product, which is how we offer the F100, the Mustang, and the F250, and then all the other products that will be coming out soon.
Well, let's focus on this one then. Obviously, first gen Bronco. Clue me in on the detail. Like, is it still a stock chassis under this car, or is this a proprietary?
Great question. So it is an original Bronco 1970 chassis.
Okay.
The rest of the vehicle is 100% brand new, brand new mechanical components, proprietary components, and it allows us to focus on the entire drivetrain experience for the customer.
Well, let's pop the hood and we'll start there and we'll just kind of work our way through. I'm so curious because you're not the only company out there doing Broncos. I mean,
we're not, and we use simultaneously a lot of similar products, but there's some options that distinguish the product from theirs.
Yeah.
So while we use the 5.0 Coyote Generation 3 engine with a 10-speed automatic overdrive transmission, we still own the serpentine system. The exhaust system and the fuel system is proprietary to Velocity.
Oh, got it. Okay. Man, this is tightly packed in here. Don't take this in the wrong way. It almost looks OEM.
We appreciate the compliment, yes. And our goal is to standardize everything from an experience to where a consumer can take this directly to a Ford dealership and have them change the oil if they'd like to. But we have a number of partners to kind of address any concerns or any things that may arise during their possession of the Bronco.
Yeah, so this is a stock Coyote in here, right? So 500-ish horsepower, right?
460 horsepower that's coming out on this specific engine.
I love just how clean it all is. I mean, and it's not a small engine to cram into this small of a space.
It's not, but aesthetically it looks great.
It does.
Right? So there's some of the little key things that we try to do to make it look a little bit differently. If you take a look at, for example, the computer system over here, for example, we want to make sure that it looks flush versus where other people might have it flipped around the other way. And then we brand our Broncos very subtly with the specific serial number that it's been built on.
So you got your serial number and then you still have the original VIN.
Yeah, the serial number is basically what number of Bronco it's been built, and then we have the original VIN on the physical chassis.
Gotcha.
It'll be in the glove box and it'll be complemented with the original title.
Gotcha. I love that, like even the packaging of your battery tray and bracket here, it actually looks like a manufactured vehicle rather than, Jimmy Joe out in the garage.
Our goal is to make sure that when somebody gets behind the wheel of a Bronco, it's going to turn. We want to make sure that they feel comfortable with it, whether it's your husband or your wife driving. We want to make sure that it has that feel.
What's the transmission in the car?
It's a 10-speed automatic overdrive transmission.
From Ford? Is it You were saying your exhaust is proprietary to you guys. What are you doing as far as from manifold back on this?
You know, I'm not the subject matter expert to answer that question
got
for
it,
you,
okay.
but I do know that we put it through a full ride test and tune program. So we break in the engine for about 500 miles, not only on a dyno machine, but we actually physically drive the vehicle.
Right.
And then when the customer gets it, we make sure that they get it just like an OEM with that 1 mile on it.
Oh, got it. So you put the odometer there, and now you got a car that's been driven, though, so you've sorted through. I'm sure, because even if you're producing that many in a year, it's not like it comes off the line. It's perfect, ready to go. There's probably a bug here and a bug there that needs to be worked out.
Yeah, we're not flawless by any means.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. We want to make sure that when a consumer is getting their vehicle, that it's been driven effectively. We remove all the inefficiencies, troubleshoot all the problems.
Yeah.
So when it gets shipped out and it gets into their driveway, they're not just excited about looking at their dream Bronco, but they're excited about driving it.
You're producing a vehicle that can be a daily driver if you want it to be that.
Absolutely.
So some of the other mechanical questions, because I know our viewers enjoy what makes it up, like as far as your diffs on the car, your suspension on it, all that stuff. So can you kind of run through?
So we still use your Dana on this Bronco, so we try to be very specific to everything else that everybody else is using because we know that it's been tried and true.
Sure,
right?
man.
So those
sure.
are really key things. We use JW speaker headlights, for example, because we want to make sure that the customer feels comfortable driving day or night.
Right.
A really good example, we use rigid lights inside of our roll cages that we physically designed internally as well.
Okay.
Because everything is done in our building. Nobody touches that specific Bronco besides Velocity.
Very
so from
cool.
chassis all the way down to the interior stitching, we make sure that it's done
Paint,
fully.
body, all of it's done. Everything's done
Right.
in-house, 100%.
Yeah, we have 2 downdraft style paint booths, for example, that monitor that entire process to make sure that the customer gets a fit and finish. We do our hard tops specifically in-house. We get everything down tooth and nail, basically, to this piece, to even putting the right component down here for a battery tender to make sure that the customer can find it pretty easily to just keep it.
So do you have a simple plug somewhere?
Right underneath, correct.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, you know, look, dude, I've got a storage facility, right? Everything in here is hooked up to a charger. Like, you have to, otherwise you're gonna end up with a dead battery if you're not driving it on a regular basis or at least running it.
Yeah, our team has really focused on the customer journey. It's not just selling them the Bronco, it's how are we connecting with them on a consistent basis to make sure that they're still comfortable and make sure that they're getting a chance to use it on a given basis.
Yeah.
And then having direct access to us when they do want to ask a question.
So you got Dana's for your diffs, because I see your Velocity branding on there. Like, I know there's a lot of companies that do diffs, Curry being a well-known one.
Correct.
Is it a Curry?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, they've so proven themselves time and again. How about the suspension components on here? Wow, those are some beefy springs, aren't they?
Yeah, so we're using your springs down here, your J-Duff springs down here. You're gonna have your Blistine shocks in there. And then they sit on your BF Goodwrench 33-inch tires on 17-inch wheels with a 2.5-inch suspension.
17-inch wheels?
Yes.
Nice. Oh, you use method wheels.
Well, this one is aesthetically different than your typical Bronco that we build.
Okay.
Right, so we put in a midnight edition package on this truck. So when you normally see all your chrome bumpers and your chrome components on here aesthetically, what we did is we blacked out everything and we complemented it with a 17-inch method wheel.
I absolutely love it. You can get a bigger brake on here, which I noticed is Willwood's another company that you work with.
Yeah, so we still have the Hydro Boost braking system supplied by Willwood
Nice.
brakes, so that really complements the Bronco well. And it's been tried and true and tested, and I'll tell you what, driving it on the freeway here made me feel really good.
I'll bet, man. Quick stops are required living in LA, man. I mean, believe me. I can't get over how the engine bay, how OEM it looks. It's.
Well, we standardize it, and the vision behind it is that
have to.
anybody that's opening the hood is going to see the same thing.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, you could. What'd you say? 125 a year?
We build over 120 a year. Comfortably, and we're hoping to continue that process more for customers that have an appreciation for this cult following.
God. Now I get there's going to be options, right, that are going to alter what the price is, but like this vehicle here, what's the price point on this?
So our base price point starts at $269,000.
Okay.
We outfitted this with a midnight edition package, which is aesthetics, which is you're adding an additional $12,000.
Got it.
And then we added a family roll cage on this, which is an additional $6,600. But ideally, you're going to get for a base truck at $270,000, you get all of these components, a 4-point roll cage, power steps, power windows, a sway bar to give you a little bit more center of gravity when you're driving the short wheelbase.
Yeah, I noticed you. Yeah, right. Which is great.
And you get your custom marine interior, you get your sound system in there. So it's basically an OEM vehicle.
Yeah, I get it. So somewhere around $270,000 is getting you in the door, and then depending on how you option it, it might be a few bucks more.
Yeah, and then you get it in 14 weeks.
from time they order the vehicle.
Yeah, so
you're telling me like today, let's say I had an extra 270 grand sitting around, which I don't, by the way. I go, perfect vehicle, I want this thing. I order it today, I give you money today. 14 weeks later, I'm driving down the road?
That's right, from deposit to finish, we're gonna get you there pretty quickly. And if the customer wants to hold on to the liquid capital, we can certainly appreciate that. We also have a phenomenal partnership with Woodside Credit. So long as they get a pre-approval, we'll build them the truck.
So you can finance it as well?
Absolutely.
Huh. How long does I can't believe.
We'll get you an application.
No, I asked this question with, we've shot a bunch with Superformance, you know? I love what Superformance does.
I love Lance, good guy.
He's a great guy, and I love the company, and I love the product that they make. And when I heard about, I can't remember what it is, something like 10-year financing, I was like, ooh, I'm pretty damn close to driving a Cooper down the road, man.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 180 months. 8.25% is usually what we tend to see. But it allows the customer to get their dream Bronco and not necessarily get rid of any liquid capital.
Dude, I love it, man. I love the lift on it. I think it's perfect, you know? I really do. You guys heavily go through and clean up your framework underneath here. I mean, it looks like a new frame under this car.
We do. So the entire program is literally going through 9 stations. So from metal fabrication through the mechanical process, through the test and tune process, through the interior, it's going to go through the entire process, fine-tuned, combed, to make sure that we remove any inefficiency.
Yeah.
And it's not only standardized, but it meets our perspective interpretation of what it should look like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at things like I love all the little detail stuff that I see on vehicles. And one that always, more than ever, I don't know why it finally happened, but for me in the last few years, door handles and mirrors, not just aesthetic look, but the feel of it, the functionality of it. Like door handles and mirrors, is this you guys creating something, or?
No, we actually do offer our own billet components that have been really taken into the next level when it comes to that type of experience.
Yeah.
These are your original components that you see. But from a subtlety perspective, there are some things that we complement things. The canvas safari top that you physically see here is something that we do internally, right?
Yeah.
We brand it very subtly in the front, but nobody else does that, where you see your typical covers that are on the top where they have like this rope where you have to tie it on or clip it onto something. Ours are really unique, where it's basically a button program that you can basically just put in and snap back on, or you can remove it to have all the sunlight so somebody can put on their, their surfboard or whatnot to have some comfortability. And then if you want to cover the entire vehicle with a soft top, then great. All you have to do is take off your safari top and then you can apply that back on.
Very cool. It doesn't look like there's any body mods at all. You're not widening anything.
We're not, right? So it's 4,000 pounds, right? It's 155 and 52 inches in length, right? So you really don't need a backup camera on these type of trucks, but a lot of customers like to have that for a sense of security. But the entire truck is rhino lined. It comes with its specific floor mats that are blended into the entire interior, for example, but we don't try to mess with the process.
So even the bumpers, that's stock bumpers.
It is a stock bumper. Now this one obviously comes with that blackout package, but normally you would see a chrome bumper on it.
Yeah. I like the subtlety of your branding. I've only noticed it, so I haven't been in the interior of the vehicle yet, but this small little badging here, the small little element up on the soft top, that's the only exterior branding I've seen on the vehicle.
Yeah,
so
there isn't
far.
very much, right? I mean, you're going to see a little bit specifically right here on your roll cage, right in the rear side.
Yeah.
But outside, you're not going to see.
But again, that's very subtle. It's one of the things, I'm not going to mention company names, but some companies out here in our aftermarket industry, they put it everywhere on the steering wheel, inside the interior, in 40 different places. It's like, dude, I know what it is. I bought the damn thing. I don't need to be a rolling piece of advertisement for you. Subtlety like this, sure,
Yeah, it not only complements the Bronco in a certain way, but it also affirms the integrity of the brand that we tend to have created here.
Yeah.
And it gives the customer a lot of confidence because we build so many that when it comes to time to kind of residual or just trade into a specific other vehicle, it already has a demand for it.
That's great, man. God, I'm still, I'm trying to comprehend 120-ish of these a year. Plus the other stuff you guys are starting to turn out. It's I don't even know if I'm allowed to call you a low volume manufacturer. I mean, you've been in this industry long enough to know that some of the other companies out there that, Singer's not turning out, 125 vehicles in a year. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they're going to focus on a specific model, right? Our goal is to make the consumer feel comfortable with every model that we can offer. And it hadn't standardized that work so they complement each other collectively.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'd love to have them with a full collection of modern classics.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that would probably speak volumes.
Great name, by the way. In 2 words, it says what you guys do. You take a classic vehicle that we love the design aesthetic of this. This is such an iconic vehicle rolling down the road. I've driven stock original ones and they're cool up to 45, 50 miles an hour, and then they get a little nerve-wracking. They really do. They dart around the road all over the place.
Yeah, you're gonna see a lot of Broncos that have a lot of play. We obviously put it through that test and tune program, and you physically feel comfortable at 75, 80 miles an hour here in California, driving on the freeway and not feel any discomfort.
Rad. I can't wait to go drive this thing. All right, let's dig in on your interior here. By the way, first off, I love that you guys put a step on here.
It's something that just is a standard now in a lot of these type of vehicles, and it's a comfortability.
And when it's not, I gotta admit, hell, dude, I'm 57 years old, man. I gotta be honest with you. Like, we shot a vehicle recently that doesn't have a step down. It's a fairly tall vehicle. It wasn't pretty watching me get in and out of that thing.
Yeah, and it's not just the steps that matter, right? So this is a roll cage that we fabricated ourselves internally. It has grab bars right here when you're stepping in so people have comfortable. Same thing for the rear side for anybody sitting on the rear side. So we want to make sure that people are feeling really comfortable when they're getting in.
And that's so subtle.
Right, and then we complement it with a custom marine interior, which is simply what you see in a very nice luxury boat, for example, so it's very easy to maintain. We complement it with a yoga material floor mat that is color blended, matched to their interior so they feel comfortable when they're driving.
Is that a standardized piece that just gets different coloring?
It is. We have a number of people that always ask if they can purchase them, but they're literally standardized for our specific Bronco.
Sure. What is the seat material? Is this leather?
It is a vinyl material.
It's vinyl?
So it's not leather. Now, customers can upgrade to a leather interior. It's based on their, if they want to use it practically or not, right?
Yeah.
I believe that our Broncos are a practical vehicle. Where people might not feel that way with this specific type of vehicle.
Yeah.
But it can be driven on a daily basis, right? So we want to make sure that every component that we're putting in there is at a comfort level for the consumer, down to the steering wheel, right? So you can have this Midnight Edition steering wheel, obviously that comes with the aesthetic package, or you have your original Bronco steering wheel that has that Ford logo in there.
Gotcha. And I see obviously it's tilt.
Tilt steering,
it's a tilt
for
column
example.
that you did on here, yep.
The vehicle is also going to come with a full cal audio system that we feel really proud of, with a very aesthetically pleasing subwoofer underneath the passenger seat.
It's totally hidden away.
Totally hidden away, so it doesn't really bother anybody, and it's going to have Bluetooth capabilities, Pandora, Sirius radio, whatnot, and then your Tuffy console is going to have a USB and a USB-C port. So if somebody wants to charge their phones or whatnot, would be really great. Other options that we do offer are specifically here in California, which is a big win for a lot of people with these Broncos, is an Apple CarPlay system, so it allows them to use their maps and feel like they're really focused on the road.
Smart.
And have that access ability to it. Everything that we get is from our customers. We get that feedback, we put it into production, and then we put it to good use.
Yep. You can see this vehicle rolling down the road. You know it's not a bone stock 70 Bronco, and yet it's not so over the top that you've forgotten where you're at. You know, like even at this gauge, which tell me about this, because it looks...
So it is a Dakota digital gauge that we have a partnership with, and we're able to actually place our logo in there just so people can identify that. But down to the specifics of your interior, where we still want to keep that classic look feel, but it is a
Is this a regulator? Yeah. I just love that. I love that. And the other thing, like, this is one of those stupid little things, but at the same time, like, I like modern classics is perfect, right? Because this, so far, everything we've gone through talking wise, I mean, I felt the AC when I just turned ignition on. You got AC in the car.
Yeah, we have a great partnership with Vintage Air. So it has hot and cold AC, obviously. That's brand spanking new. You're gonna have your VIN tag in your glove box that's matching your chassis, and then your title as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we wanna make sure that all of our partners get recognized.
Which is cool that you do that. I mean, I think there's in the known brands, that's why I asked on the diffs, Curry, it's like, all I have to do is hear that it's got a Curry rear end in it. Cool, I know that's good. Willwood brakes, oh cool, I know that's good. Method wheels, great stuff, right? BF, all your partners on this. And this is another place where I'm picking up on your branding in more spots, being on the interior. Obviously the floor mat being the most obvious one. Very subtle on your shifters here for the diffs. Very subtle on the gauges, but it's there, it's present.
Again, it's just to complement the vehicle just enough to give it some character.
God, your lighting choice is bitching too. And this cage work is gorgeous, dude. It's another one of those things I always geek on. I get pissed off when cars don't have cup holders. And I can't get over that. I mean, now that I feel it more, it's not grandma's vinyl from a 60s car that just feels awful. It's like really soft and buttery.
Yeah, Coyote is a really huge part of our organization that really works with our partners.
Yeah.
And we found the right material that makes sense for these to really complement it, have that aesthetic look like leather, but it has a comfortable feel where it acclimates to any weather.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I know there's more to talk about, but I want to go do the part where we drive it.
Let's go.
We can shoot the shit more while we're driving. So we're going to go for a drive, you guys.
Sounds great.
The sound of this thing's great.
Yeah, I love that it's not loud where it's obnoxious.
No.
But it's loud enough where it gets your attention.
Definitely. You know it's a V8 right away. And you said the exhaust is proprietary to you guys, right?
Yeah, we put everything through a process and testing and whatnot, but our R&D team is really focused on using the right components in general.
What about mufflers? Is it another company's mufflers? Or
It is a vendor's partner that we use in there, but we just finesse it a little bit more.
Okay.
And in terms of the exhaust, I treat it more like music, right? Everybody has their own taste.
100%.
Same thing with the exhaust system.
Yeah, man, seriously. On a stock ragtop Bronco, the line of the window here, right? This top part here, and the top itself that comes straight back, they don't line up good, and it's aesthetically not pleasing to my eye. It looks like something's a little out of whack. I like how you guys angled your top in to it gets away from this. Your eye's not pulled to that doesn't match up. I mean, it's a subtle thing, but it really, having seen, I get that one in my shop that I see on a regular basis. Boy, I tell you what, dude, all of the 5 minutes of seat time I've had in this, it drives really nice.
Yeah, so you're driving a 10-speed automatic overdrive transmission, so you get a chance to really feel every motion while you're driving.
Not just that, though. That I expected to work, to be honest with you, because you're using modern, not modified components as far as the engine and transmission goes. I've driven stock original Broncos, and because of the short little wheelbase, no real sway bars of any sort. They're very darty. They're fun at 30, 40 miles an hour, but I wouldn't ever want to get up to speed in one. This just feels, I mean, it still feels short wheelbase, don't get me wrong, but it feels super stable.
Yeah, we want to make sure that when you're driving at any point, you feel really good at 75, 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's definitely a smile machine, man. I'm still trying to get over too. And if you guys get bored of me saying this, I apologize, but given that I'm friends with some low volume manufacturer companies, I'm fascinated at the idea that you have a 140,000 foot building that you're probably on your way to growing out of. You have close to 160 employees, and that you turn out well over 100 of these per year, and you knock them out in 14 weeks from the time of deposit. I got to imagine you have a ton of donor vehicles waiting to be built.
Yeah, so we have already a whole bunch of them that we've already put concept behind.
Yeah.
We're already building, so they'll be, whether the customer wants to build something that's already on the shelf, that's already been created just based on feedback and repetitious, people that buy that specific type of model and color combination.
Yeah.
So we'll design that truck and make it readily available.
Yeah.
Or we could design it within that 14-week timeline from deposit to finish, regardless of what vehicle they choose with us.
But I gotta imagine that as far as a donor, I mean, like, so you must constantly be buying up. Anytime you find a Bronco, you buy it.
We definitely have a handful of inventory readily available.
You would have to. I mean, I know Rod Emery fairly well. Been over to Rod's shop quite a bit. If any of you guys don't know Rod Emery's known for the 356 outlaw movement. Look up Rod Emery. I'm not going to go into it right now. Rod's got, at any given time in his place, 20, 30 356s waiting to be built, engines, you name it. Like he's constantly scouring the world and buying stuff because he knows he's going to use it.
Yeah, we even get clients that reach out to us and make an offering on certain vehicles that they haven't used either.
Yeah.
But we do a great job of sourcing that inventory.
Yeah. I like the way the transmission shifts. I've noticed it a couple times now. As you're coming up to a stop, It actually does downshift and slow you up along with braking. Speaking of transmission, so I get this is a 10-speed automatic. Do you guys offer the option for the guy or girl that might want a manual?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just need to know in the beginning so we can make sure that it's outfitted correctly.
Yeah. Dude, there's some people that are going to want a manual transmission. Insta smile, I swear. This thing drives really, really nice, man. Although you got so much modern components going on, there is still an element of this that feels very classic to me, but not classic. It doesn't feel classic in the sense of antiquated.
Right. It still looks analog, but it's certainly not.
Yeah. This thing's so well done, dude. God dang. And on a hot day like this, I can't believe that the AC is actually giving us, you know, a bit of cool flow here. How are you as a passenger? Are you okay on riding along with people? Some people are awful passengers that are like, please don't hit the accelerator.
No, we actually experience that pretty often. We do a handful of test driving experiences throughout the United States.
Yeah.
So we'll go out to certain designated areas, and we have a number of clients that really have a vested interest in wanting to own one of these, but they want to get behind the wheel first before they make that informed decision.
Totally.
So we get behind the wheel with them, and we'll sit as a passenger and let them have fun, and let the Bronco speak for itself.
Good. Uh-oh, we're going to get a little dirty, sorry.
Well, it's not a Bronco if it's not dirty.
Right? That's the truth, man. Zyra, you guys have, good job, Velocity. I gotta say, man, like, it's typical of me. When I get in a vehicle it's pretty good, I don't nitpick things at all because there's so many things that you can pick apart about it that it's like, let's just enjoy what this is and leave it alone, you know? And then there's vehicles that are so good that I find myself compelled to nitpick and find the little things that bother me. Just being dead honest with you, I haven't found anything that's bothering me yet.
That might just be the passenger.
It could be, man.
There's one thing that we do here every once in a while, just because it's a short vehicle, we get a lot of clients that are rather tall, and so it's just not as comfortable.
Sure.
So we actually now install a relocation kit that's available to all of our clients, which gives them a lot more room and just lets the seat move farther back so they have access and comfort.
Got it. So you can create a seat that accommodates a guy that's 6'5" or something like that.
Never gets old.
It's so fun, isn't it? And this is mild, right? As far as, I think you know what I mean by mild. It's not a ballistic, let's make 1,000 horsepower vehicle.
Yeah. My favorite part is the U-turn.
Oh, I knew I was going to be able to make this U-turn with zero effort required. All right, so Zyra, you guys, something we were talking about off camera for a minute, and I feel like it's very important because, so low production manufacturer, but still a custom vehicle, right? It's not from a manufacturer per se, right?
Right.
Or one of the big three. But so for peace of mind for the guy, girl that's dropping, call it 270 grand, right? You guys offer a full warranty program?
We do. We offer a 2-year commitment warranty from Velocity, and then you still get the manufacturer drivetrain warranty applied to that.
And it's like a bumper to bumper.
Yes, sir.
Like you have an issue, bring it back.
Yeah, and depends on where they're at. We have a number of relationships and partnerships with certain designated areas demographically and geographically that we could just send that Bronco and address that warranty concern. Or if the customer feels more comfortable sending it to us so we can manage that process, we can do that as well.
Yeah, I think it's genius that you guys do that. I can't believe how nice the steering on this is wonderful. Like something as simple as a U-turn, there's no clunkiness, but the subtleties of what you guys have done here, you're building over 100 of these a year, 120 as you said, per year. You've probably figured out a few things and learned a few things along the way.
Yeah, there's a true meaning behind the definition of the velocity difference.
Yeah, I'm telling you, everything on this works the way I want it to work. And I would even personally, and some of you guys want to give me trouble, that's all right, I'm cool with that. I would actually go with this exact setup, the 10-speed auto, Manual's fun for a few minutes, but I live in LA and it's not a lot of fun to drive a manual trans car in Los Angeles. This thing doesn't shift in a manner that bothers me. And I noticed too, you guys, this is really cool. There's a switch down here at the bottom of the steering column that allows you to toggle through different settings on the gauge cluster. So you can actually see different things. You can have digital speedo, RPMs are right there. You can have tire pressure. You have a lot of options depending on what you want to see.
Yeah, we want to make sure people feel familiar while still driving something classic.
10 years ago when the company started, you weren't producing 120 plus vehicles per year, right?
No, they weren't. They were averaging probably about 15 Broncos.
Right.
Plus or minus.
Which is still actually quite a feat in itself.
It is quite the accomplishment. And they were doing that with probably about 20 individuals.
So how many years now have you guys moved into this higher level of production?
We're going close to 2 years now in that high level facility now.
Got it, okay. Great sound. So that's 60 miles an hour, totally stable. Short wheelbase, so it's like, I can tell if you give it any kind of overly exaggerated input, it's gonna move. It's a short wheelbase vehicle, but
but you're always gonna be in control.
Dude, it's totally stable. I mean, great sound. It doesn't really sound like a Coyote. I know the Coyote sound very well, man. I mean, it doesn't really sound like a Coyote. Listen. This thing's bitching, man. Making me smile nonstop over here. Any of you guys out there that got the money to get it, when you go to them to buy one, I want you to tell the Velocity Modern Classics guys, hey, I found you from Autotopia LA. Maybe if we rack up enough of those, they'll give me one for free at some point.
We'll figure out how to do an Autotopia LA discount for everybody that reaches out.
Oh man, that would be super cool. Really well done, man. God dang. Well, simply put, you guys, this thing is just bitching. It's so well done, man. I mean, you can really tell from driving this down the road, they've literally thought of every single thing you could come up with. When a vehicle's so good, oftentimes certain tiny little things stand out and I kind of nitpick them because it's so good, because it feels like there's a couple details that were overlooked. I just drove this vehicle for about 30 or 40 minutes and I can't find anything. I have nothing to nitpick about it. So I gotta say, Velocity Modern Classics, you guys are killing it. And please keep up what you do and hopefully I'll make the money someday to be able to afford one of your vehicles. And that's it, you guys. I'm gonna leave you with a big thanks for hanging and watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. All right, man, later.